landscape, the technological landscape of foundation model, every fortnight there are new set of foundation model getting churn out by so many different kinds of peer teams across globe. So deciding upon which model is doing better over the other model on specific different kinds of programming tasks is a key aspect in being able to work with a foundation model. Okay, configuring the inference parameter. Training is a key kind of aspect when I want to fine tune a model. Training of a model means the process of going through the whole large variety of information and representing them in terms of a varied vector space. So this aspect of remembering the information that is seen by the model previously, that refers to the training of the model. And while doing training, we focus on certain things which are part of inference parameters. So how do I configure those inference parameters? So inference is application of the model on an unseen data. So once my training is over, when I want to apply the model on an unseen data, that is where I'm going to solve called as inferencing from the given model. Now when I'm inferencing from the given model, I also require to do certain fine tuning so that I can get exact kind of output. So what I mean by exact kind of an output, I'll give you a example of that. Suppose I have given all the kinds of Shakespeare books as input to my language model training phase. Now my language model is ready, foundation model is ready. It is a language model trained on all the books of Shakespeare. So it is now an literature English. It is kind of a expert on English literature, specifically the Shakespeare's books. Now I want to infer something. So I want it to write me certain passage or set of certain kind of book chapters, and in the way the Shakespeare himself would write like. But for that I need to talk with it. I need to tell him what kind of storyline I want. Okay, I'll give a proper prompt to it. But after giving the prompt, if I require a paragraph, a summary of the book or an abstract of the book, or I require a chapter of the book, okay, depending on whether I require a chapter, whether I require an abstract, or whether I require an entire book, or whether I require a comic book, okay, based on what kind of output I require, the parameters that are used for inferencing might differ. Although the base training is based on a single common set of information content, my output might vary depending on how do I set my inference parameter. And every use case that I talked about will have a different set of inference parameter. Per se, for an abstract, I need to summarize the content based on my prompt and the information available with the language model. When I wanted to create a book chapter, it requires the prompt plus the information, and it has to elaborate the idea into small to large content. The number of words that it needs to emit as an output is now a very large number of words. In case of a summary, it has to concisely represent the output. So there is this striking difference in the way the output is generated from same chatbot using same language model, but I need a different output or different kind of inference based on the output that is generated by the chatbot. I hope you got the example. It might not be an accurate example, but I've tried to be as much as generic as possible because the audience is varied. Some of you already have a knowledge or know-how of things, and some of you are very much new or very much unaware of things. That is why I'm trying to strike a balance in a way, and I'm not showing you much other things as well. So let us understand what do you mean by augmented generation, retrieval augmented generation, or a RAG model. So now in 2022, I guess 22-23, these models were pretty much top of the world. Retrieval augmented generation, or RAG models. So RAG models are a different kinds of foundation model than the examples that I was giving you. Okay, large language models are generically trained, and retrieval augmented generation models, they are trained differently. Okay, so that there's a difference in the way the training procedures work for these two kind of models, and that's why they are applicable in different set of application areas. Okay, so how do I customize these models? What are the RAG models? How can we use RAG models in AWS? And when I want to work with foundation models on AWS, what kind of different services are there? Now, we had seen Amazon Bedrock earlier, where we saw Bedrock as if it's a black box which lets you off the shelf language models to be used and create a use case which is a generative AI use case directly. Here we are again using the same service, but this time round it is letting you configure or customize an existing generative AI model. So that is what the aspect of Bedrock we are looking at over here, and this demo concentrates on that. Okay, and again there is a model check. Most of this particular AI generative AI course, we have demos and we have less number of labs in here. Okay, unfortunately there are less number of labs in here compared to our course number 1, which has a lot of focus on equal balance on labs as well as the module checks and the demos that are present. So let us understand practicing generative AI responsibly. Now this aspect is everywhere when we are using AI. People's privacy, people's data at stake. There are a lot of things you can do wrong and with the AI, and you just need to imagine what can go wrong, and you need to understand, if I want to use AI responsibly, what should be that I be doing when I'm creating a language model, or I'm tuning an existing language model, or I am prompting an existing language model. At every aspect there must be certain safeguards, certain guardrails as they referred to as, they should be installed in order that AI cannot be used, or AI may not be used for doing things which are legally not permitted to be done. Okay, so I should not ask AI to create me to tell me how to do things which are not legal. So how do I restrict that? How do I restrict such kind of a prompt? How do I tell that AI, so you need not answer to these kind of prompts? Okay, how do I install these kind of guardrails, or how I can safeguard the use of my models for positive purpose and not certain criminal kind of insights, getting criminal kind of insights. So that is what practicing generative AI responsibility will deal with. Although we as not we actually, you as very young professionals, you might not be that much of interest, having that much of interest in understanding generative AI responsibly chapter. You might be wanting to use generative AI in most of the aspects, that technologically aspect that you can think of. But using AI responsibly, if you learn it in advance, whenever you are actually using it for your projects, you will actually incorporate these things, and incorporating these kind of aspects in your solutions make your solutions sell good in public. Okay, that is important thing to understand. Now module 7 is about considering security, governance, compliance when you're using generative. So how do I secure things? Can something be hacked? Can some data be misused? Okay, so that is what we are going to learn about. So how do you secure an AI system? How do you nowadays people are talking about using AI also, some sort of malicious attacks can be generated, can be created. Specifically, it is not related to generative AI directly, it is related to agentic AI. You can generate AI agents and make the AI agents work roguely in order that they disrupt